Welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG here tonight. I don't know where Unrect is. I don't know where Jexer is. I don't know where Tangent is. But that's okay because I have my boy Blue Bum with me. How are you, fella?
I'm very, very good. Yeah, I'm enjoying South America and enjoying the bear market, enjoying the dramas.
Man, last few days, Bitcoin has almost broken through that down through 20 grand.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but we kind of, I feel kind of prepared. I feel kind of like ever since Richard called it a year ago, it's kind of like, oh, he's probably going to be right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure it was going to happen. I was like, don't see it, but yeah, it's happening. And so it's like, why wouldn't it just go down to 12K? Eh?
And Hex is down pretty low as well. I mean, it's probably from its all-time high, it's down about 94%, which is a lot. I mean, that's a lot. It's sort of what like I say altcoins, but you know, things that aren't Bitcoin have tended to do. Like Ethereum did that 2.5 years, 2.5 years into Ethereum, it dropped 95%.
That's right.
So
was that after the fork or around the fork?
Oh, I don't know.
Might have been. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was in a bear market. Hey, we have a guest tonight. So some of you may or may not be familiar with a website that has been launched recently called Hex Market. Now, Hex Market is a
well, let's get Mike on to
we're going to get Mike on. We're going to get Mike on, but it's a website that is predominantly there, as far as I understand, for trading, allowing you. It's a marketplace allowing you to trade your financial NFTs, not art NFTs, your financial NFTs, such as HSIs, which are hex stake instances, which have been tokenized into the NFT format. But let's get Mike up to explain what this is about, and maybe before we even get into that, we'll ask him about what his thoughts are on just the bleeding that we're seeing right now. So let me just get Mike up. How are you, mate?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey Mike, how's it going? Actually, just also 43 OG before you just go on. It's I think Jex is actually trying to get in.
Here? Oh yeah,
yeah, he's in the.
I've got a small screen here tonight, so we'll deal with that.
You wouldn't let me in.
Sorry, mate. I didn't see you were just out of screen. I couldn't see your. You didn't have your hair. You didn't have your hair spiked up enough for me, mate. I couldn't see.
That'd be a first.
How are we?
Yeah, good. How are you, Mike? I don't think we've ever met before.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Awesome. So, Mike, you're from Rapid Innovation, is that right?
Yeah. So my full-time job, I'm head of business development at Rapid Innovation. So Rapid Innovation is a blockchain development company. So people who want to build. So one of the employee perks is I get access to developers. Hence how Hex Market was formed, or how we're able to execute on it. So it's been nice so far.
Yeah, awesome. So it's launched, and at the moment there's a few HSIs listed on it. Maybe just tell us a bit about your vision for hexmarket.com.
Yeah. So obviously, with now that we can use hex stakes and actually create NFTs out of it, what's really cool about it is the ability to either transfer or buy and sell. One feature, and actually 43 OG got into this, but one idea that we have is how cool would it be if, for those that, well, first and foremost, the marketplace is exclusively for HSI. So we're not going to deviate into other NFTs or artwork unless an HSI attached to it. So there's a couple ideas on the roadmap, and hedron staking as well. So we're quite excited.
Do you think that limits eyeballs, where you could essentially use that as a gateway to bring other people in and look at HSIs?
Yeah. So the idea, so to back up, my girlfriend's dad approached me the other day and basically said, "Hey, Mike, I'm interested in NFTs, right?" Now the go-to is the expensive JPEGs that he's referring to, and so a cool idea that, and this is all experimental, but one idea for ways to onboard the masses is how cool would it be to attach something that appreciates in value, at least in hex terms, to that art piece, but you almost have two competing, or I guess two market forces. You have the art side, the subjective perceived value, but then also the actual stake or stakes, because you can have multiple HSIs that are attached to the art piece. But step one, we just launched the basic marketplace, which is very simple, buy and sell, and then hopefully we'll be on PulseChain once that's out pretty soon.
Yep. So I'm just looking. There's a few HSIs listed there. So there's actually been sales transacted through this.
So I think there hasn't been a lot going on in the last week, so we're trying to get it going. I think one of the big issues is the gas fees.
Yeah.
And also just we're relatively new, so it's still up and coming. It's what I call a slow start. But yeah, our goal is just to keep producing as much as we can.
So I guess the big question is, okay, you've done this on ETH. Is it pretty seamless the way it'll fork over on the PulseChain?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. It should be pretty seamless. I will say that we set it up in a way where we can, at least in the short term, change up the contracts, or if something, for example, maybe want to include USDC, or when it goes on PulseChain, we want to take what we're learning now and then apply it over to PulseChain. So it should be pretty seamless. There's a couple of back end. Once PulseChain launches, there's going to be a lot of we're going to need a few other infrastructure. Foundation layer. So we'll see.
Yeah. I feel you, brother.
Yeah.
No, for anyone that's out there, PulseChain is very new, so it doesn't come along with all the fruit, the bells and whistles that Ethereum has. So there's things that the community, and when I say the community, the people building on PulseChain, there's things that we have to do and bolster out the services on the chain.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's going to be fun to see it. It'll take some time. I think everyone just thinks that from day one there's going to be everything launched and everything will look good, but we'll see.
Right. That's the exciting thing. We get to be part of creating all of that and building that on PulseChain.
Yep.
So Mike, how, like, if someone wants to list an NFT on your website, what's the process there?
Yeah, so you just have to log in with your MetaMask. You click on My Wallet, and there's a sell button right there, and then you can always delist it later. Like I said, the biggest hurdle is the gas fee. So this really only appeals at the moment for individuals that have larger HSIs. But hopefully with PulseChain that will fix that. But yeah, it's as simple as that.
So is it like connected to a contract that lists it? Like is it something that happens on chain?
Yep, it's all on chain, but you keep you still keep possession of. Yep, exactly. You still hold your NFT. It's just it's displayed, and then once a transaction, then it'll swap it out. And we're improving the user experience where sometimes you can list it, but then you can transfer it out. The transaction would fail if you actually went through with it. So we're improving the UX so it protects the user. They should see that the gas fees are going to say it's hard to calculate. I forget the exact verbiage, but yeah, so that's one area we're going to be improving on.
Okay, so I've never used NFTs in anger. What sort of fees are you talking to generate an NFT and get it up there?
Yeah, so to generate the NFT, you have to go through Hedron. So this is assuming you've already have your NFT or your HSI ready to go, and then you have to tokenize it. So yeah, you have to tokenize it, and then once it's tokenized and it's actually an NFT, and I'm not, maybe Blue Bum would be able to shed light on roughly the cost, but yeah, to list, I mean, I think it's like $30 or $40 or something.
Yeah, well, that's a typical transaction cost on ETH for pretty much anything these days, isn't it? Swaps. And...
Yeah, I'm actually looking now to see.
It's cheap, yeah.
It's putting it nicely. Yeah, so we'll see though. But hopefully PulseChain fixes that. Yeah,
I think we've. This has definitely shone a light on how important or why PulseChain was first of all brought to market. Is it's just screwed so many projects that could have done a lot better, just getting stifled on ETH. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Although gas would be pretty cheap right now.
Yeah, sure.
In US dollar terms.
In US dollar terms, gas is cheap.
And Patrick showed me a transaction last night, which was over 200 Gwei. I was like, whoa. So there's a bit of panic selling out there, or something is happening. Like, where the gas prices are going up. I don't know what it is right now.
I mean, Ethereum I saw it under $1,200. Was below.
Still is. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it wicked down. It did wick down under 1,000. I think.
I think on the dexes it went to about 900. I think.
Jeez.
Actually, Mike, it might be interesting before we get a bit more into the Hex market, like how you came to crypto and what your story is, and leading that into kind of like what you think about where the markets are right now.
Yeah. So back in 2016, so unfortunately, and I won't go into very specific details, but when my mom passed away, I got some inheritance. This was back in like 2016. I didn't want to put in the stock market, so I decided to put it into Bitcoin, or I heard about Bitcoin at the time. This was when Bitcoin was around the $700 range. Long story short, it started to go up in value, and then suddenly I'm like, hey, maybe I should go learn what this is. And then I heard about ETH. So classic story. And then unfortunately lost it all. I learned my lesson, that you've seen the cycles, right? The bulls and the bears. And I never really understood what a bear market was and how long it could last for. So I ended up losing quite a bit. And then, but I was hooked ever since. And so now I just study it and I learn as much as I can. I used to be a big fan of EOS. I don't know if it's still cool. I don't think it's as popular.
Don't think it's done anything exciting this cycle. But hey, I was pretty enthusiastic.
Actually, I think people are talking about Telos as one of the best EVM chains. Is the best implementation of an EVM chain out there.
Yeah, I've seen a few things about that recently.
I've heard people say really good things about it.
Yeah,
and they're going to be using it. They use delegated proof of stake. Pulse is going to be using delegated proof of stake. They were using delegated proof of stake way before.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the live stream? Richard's live stream. A couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Do you know how he gave that explanation of the work? The reason why Pulse hasn't launched is because they're working on the code and what actually goes into a block, and what they're doing to increase the throughput, basically, make it more efficient. It's this. I mean, that sounds amazing to me that they're doing that. They're not.
They're not a straight copy. They're actually improving the node software and making it more efficient. Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Sammy.
How are you? All right. What's going on?
We're good. We're just talking about Richard's stream last night, and also this is Mike. We've got Mike here from Hex Market.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I was listening. I was just getting ready. It's so cold here, isn't it? It's like cold as a nun's nasty here in Melbourne, isn't it?
It's cold.
I don't know. I've never felt a nun's nasty, but I'll take your word for it.
Sure, Jed, sure. All right, enough of my interruptions. Hey, everybody. All right, carry on. I'm listening.
Hey, we'll take the opportunity to send a massive shout out to the chat. What's up, guys, in the chat?
Yeah, good to see you all.
Guys and girls, what is up? Hey, Bluey, someone posted that. You know how you did that song in Italian?
Yeah,
someone
I
posted
just
that
looked at
on
my Twitter
Twitter.
just before I jumped on this stream, and
yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That is every time I hear that, it makes me happy. Like it puts me in a good mood.
Excellent. Brilliant. So I'd like to ask actually about the connecting of JPEG art NFTs to HSIs, and like how like does a new contract need to be made to do that, and like how far off do you think that's going to be? Because that to me like is, and you have a great analogy you've used where it's like, you know, like a piece of jewelry is made of gold, but then it also has the artistic or the presentational value or whatever of that piece of jewelry. And so like connecting HSIs to like artwork, like JPEG artwork, I think that's a fantastic way to get into that kind of NFT market, but also just as a value proposition, like going into the future.
Yeah, so you've got a speculative component of the NFT as well as a financial component.
Yeah. And right now, so to answer your question, it would require a new contract. And the original idea was somebody on our Telegram wanted to sell a bundle of their HSIs, so their staking ladder. So the original idea was, hey, we just create a contract that combines them all, and you can go ahead and sell it on the markets. But then it got us thinking, and actually, Alex, I can't take credit. So Alex is the one that from Hedron is the one that talked about it as a potential idea, and then I started. It didn't connect at the time, but later on, it is such a genius idea of what if we did connect some sort of JPEG to an HSI or a bundle of HSIs, like a staking ladder, and then so right now I just finished the mockups. I'm actually looking at them now, and the idea is to create like a ranking. Right, there's got to be a reason. We want people to create art attached to their HSIs, but then have the community actually vote if they like the art piece or not. And I think initially a good collection would be all of Richard Hart's tweets, or at least where he's promoting his own swag, right? Because he's got some really good content there. And then just let the community interact. But the idea is to add the HSI or attach it, and then that does a couple things. One, for an upcoming NFT artist, that puts value on day one. Two, you can add a royalty or a creator fee attached to it as well. So if it is popular, it does become popular, then you can receive royalties later on if people are buying and selling it. People could also burn it as well. But if it's popular enough, or if the hex stake, like if you have a 15-year hex stake, then it doesn't really, you might not want to burn it. So we'll see.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm a complete noob when it comes to NFTs. So you've chucked out a few things there that I wouldn't mind circling back on. So the royalty thing. So that's what's done in NFT world is you can somehow code that into your NFT, and every time it's changed hands, you get a clip of the sale. Is that how it works, or how?
Yep, exactly. So it's so on OpenSea, I think they call it a creator fee, and we'll set it up where the artist or the creator can choose what their percentage is, right? So some individuals might say, hey, look, I don't want to have any sort of royalty. I just want to put 0 in there. Or you might have individuals who put 5 or 10%.
Yeah. And so looking at the website, every NFT on there is the same picture. Is that what is generated when you tokenize a stake on Hedron, is it? Is that where does that image come from? Because I see that same one everywhere.
Yeah. So it's important to distinguish the difference between Hedron and Hex Market. So Hedron is the one that is actually minting the NFT. So these NFTs are actually through Hedron. That image, so really it's a video. I think we're just using a static image, but we might change it to the actual video where it actually spins around. So that's how the current contracts are set up with Hedron, where it's actually showcasing that. Yeah, and then we're just adding a layer on top of that if you wanted to get more creative with the art side. So that's the piece that would change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Can you do private sales?
Like OTC type of? So like if you and I wanted to transact it.
Yeah. So we didn't want to put a public one up. Can you list and have a link or
maybe specify the address, the buying address?
Yeah. So that would be pretty easy to implement. I think it's just more of as the need arises. So our approach is let's get something out there. Let's just continue to learn how people are using it, if they're using it at all, and then as needed we can create. Like for example, the whole reason the Hex art idea came to be was because of the bundling, or somebody wanted to sell their staking ladder. So right there, it gives us that creates the roadmap. So we're just kind of learning, but if that's what the community wants, by all means, we can make it happen.
Yeah, I would just from a financial use case, no financial advice, get your own tax advisor and all that, yada yada. If you wanted to, sorry guys, if you wanted to transfer an existing stake you have, so a HSI stake, from one entity, so let's say it's in your personal name and you wanted to move it over to a trust or something you've got. This might be a mechanism where you can sell it from yourself to the trust for a nominal value that the NFT sells for. Now, obviously, you've got to do your own tax advice on that, but you've got the financial stake sitting there represented by whatever the market value is of that NFT.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where we'll 43 and I've sort of been bouncing ideas around it, how you could use this to your advantage.
Yeah, I think people are underestimating the impact of these HSIs and what they mean in the future, right? Like obviously a marketplace is one area, but I mean there's so many things we'll be able to do now when it comes to creating, Hex stake NFT. Like onboarding the masses is one, right? Like now I can go onboard somebody and send them a Hex stake, an active one. It's pretty cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Mike, 100%. It gives it's so much more flexibility now, because anyone who's made legacy stakes, and when I say legacy stakes, I mean you had your MetaMask, you just did your staking through the go.hex.com interface website, and those stakes are connected to that address, and they can't be changed or moved in any way. If you're doing your HSI stakes through Hedron, then you can tokenize it and send it. I mean, the flexibility that gives you, that essentially changes the game. It really does, and the ability to sell that. And we've been through the discussions, the pros and the cons of what that does to Hex as a proposition, as a value proposition. We've been through that like multiple times on this show, the pros, the cons. My view of it has always been the same. It's not a matter if it's good or bad. It is. This is a reality. So you adapt. Just like in nature. The organisms that prosper, that survive, are the ones that have adapted, or the ones that have those. So
So we're getting a suite of tools. So we started off with Hex, which was the code's good, the contract's good, does what it says it does, keeps everyone honest. Now what we're coming up with is nice little utilities that are value adds on top of that. So being able to, like you say, to tokenize a stake is a pretty big thing. When you start bundling that with tools like Gnosis as well, then it changes the way you can store your assets and secure them. So if you see, we've seen so many people get do silly things and give up their seed words and basically lose their whole staking ladder. So now you can start to use some of these tools to create a stake, put it in a Gnosis safe with multiple signatures, and do some pretty cool stuff.
Jex, I just want to pull you up there for a second. I mean, it's where we do need to say that if you are doing things, if you are using HSIs, you are using Gnosis Safe, you are taking on extra contract risk.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like extra contract risk. So, you know, you want to do your research. You want to be sure you know what you're doing. But yeah, the flexibility and what you can do, it's broadened immensely.
And so we've talked about, you mentioned this, Dave 43, where you talked about how do these new tools affect the price dynamics of Hex. Imagine, so it works, it's a double-edged sword. So people go, I might remove some buy pressure. I go, yeah, but look how much sell pressure we've just had recently. If it didn't paint a chart with red candles and someone could take someone's HSI off their hands, that's not a bad thing either. So it works in both.
That's correct. Yeah, what you're saying is 100% correct. It can remove some buy pressure, but like a lot of people might say, hey, why would I not do a 15-year stake instead in an HSI? Because then I've still got the flexibility of selling it. So if people are doing 15-year stakes, I mean, that Hex is gone for a while. You know, that's off. That Hex is off the market. So if anyone wants to do their own stakes, you know, they either have to go looking for the precise HSI or the precise stake, or they have to buy it on the market. So, you know, it's I think it's almost like a zero-sum game. You know, it doesn't really. So
when I look at these things, so I look at Hex Market and Hedron, I just see them as more giving us more flexibility and more utilities, the way we can handle our stakes. And a small percentage of stakes will be created to sell on various marketplaces. A lot may be used just to give people more flexibility. So the tools are there. It just depends how you want to use them.
So I've got a question, Mike. Can you tell us, like, is there, like, what are the fees and what's the structure of that?
Yeah, for the marketplace specifically.
Yeah, not the not Ethereum fees. Just what is the marketplace going to charge for the facilitating the sale of an NFT?
Yeah, so our fees are 2.22%. And that's broken down into technically five different allocations. So the first one is a buy and burn of Hedron. So there'll be a wallet. Anybody will be able to call it, but ultimately it will buy Hedron on the market.
Is it 5 equal parts? Sorry, is it split?
So 4 equal parts plus the Hedron flow address is, so if you sum all that up, so it's 0.5555% for the 4, which I'll get into, and then the Hedron flow address of 0.15%.
Okay.
But for simplicity purposes, just think, 55-55. So 0.5555% is the buy and burn of Hedron. Then 55-55 for a buy and distribute to Hedron stakers. And then you have what we call the bonus wallet, which we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet. But ultimately, it'll either go back to the Hedron stakers, or we might create our own token. And then the Hex Market fee is also there as well. And then, so that's divided by 4. So 0.5555%, and then the 0.15% for the Hedron flow address.
And what can you tell me? What's that flow address? What is that flow address?
Yeah, so, and Blue Bum might be able to discuss specifics, but basically it goes back to Hedron as it's a recommendation on what Hedron would get once the HSI is sold. So that's their profit that they would get. And it doesn't have to be honored, I don't believe, but
so I notice you're talking in Hedron, so which leads me to believe that you must purchase the NFT using Hedron.
No.
So
no,
how
you
does
don't
that
have
work?
So to purchase an HSI?
Yeah, on the marketplace.
What so to purchase, yeah, you'll have to use the ETH to actually purchase.
Or
we
Pulse.
Might change it, yeah, or Pulse or a stable coin. Right now it's just ETH on Ethereum. Eventually it'll be Pulse. The original idea was to use Hedron to actually purchase an HSI, but the concern with that is typically people are selling their HSI because they need cash or they want to get out. And so what we didn't want to happen is somebody sells it, they get their Hedron, and then they sell their Hedron on the open market to cash out. So we wanted to just say, hey, if you're going to cash out of ETH instead. So we didn't want we wanted to avoid selling pressure for Hedron, hence why we didn't allow individuals to purchase it with Hedron, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
so how far away are the those contract, like, so you're going to have Hedron staking coming. Let's talk about that. But then also I just want to know, like, what kind of, like, how far away do you think, like, hooking up like HSIs to JPEG NFTs, like how far away that contract sort of is? And yeah,
so Hedron staking will obviously come first. So 6 hours ago, probably 7 now, I had a meeting with the devs, and the plan is that it's almost done. In 48 hours, though, they'll give me more of a formal demo, and we'll be able to actually play with it on testnet. Right now, the biggest it's not really, it's a challenge, but it's more time consuming, is the reward calculation and the distribution. And it's just more of the logic behind it. So in 48 hours, we'll be able to play. I mean, that's Hedron staking is probably, I mean, so assuming, in 48 hours, everything's looking pretty good, then we just have to do an internal audit with a separate team. And then, yeah, that should be live. We'll push that out. And then in terms of the Hex art or attaching art and JPEG, or attaching art and HSIs together, right now it's I just need to get it designed, which will probably take 48 hours with the designer. But it's not going to be that complicated from a contract standpoint. It's more of the just getting the UI and making sure it makes sense for the community on how to use it. Like, for example, what I'm playing with now is so obviously I already created the designs or the user experience for actually attaching the art and the HSI, but I think adding another layer of a ranking, a page that shows the ranking, and allowing users to, similar on Reddit where you can upvote or downvote, and then that creates which art is the best. So if you create an art piece on Hex Market, you'll be part of the ranking automatically, and then people can vote on it. So I'm gonna guess around a month for that in total. So hopefully by this time in July that would be out.
4 weeks, you reckon?
Yeah, 4 weeks. I mean, I had famous last words. I'm so careful now when I give out timelines. So obviously I'm head of business development, so I talk to a lot of individuals at Rapid, and man, when people ask me, how long will a project take, I am so careful about giving out timelines, just because I mean, scope
you'd be the only BD that's careful, mate.
Yeah. Well, I get penalized. Trust me, I learned my lesson. Yeah, it's I learned my lesson the hard way, put it that way. So now I'm very careful with setting expectations. But I do think around 4 weeks, at least, I'll be providing updates along the way. So if it does extend, we won't get to 4 weeks, and then you're wondering where it's at.
So I've got to admit, you. Sorry, you go.
I'm just wondering is Rapid Innovation a very big company, and I'm just curious as to what people think of Hex and Hedron. They're obviously working on all sorts of other stuff as well at Rapid Innovation, hey? And I'm always just curious as to what the perspective of Hex and Pulse and other stuff are in the kind of people who are involved in many different projects like that.
Yeah, so I will openly admit that. So we have around 300 employees. So everyone's in-house. So it is not a huge US team. I'd say we have around 20 or 25 US employees, and then the rest are in New Delhi. And I will say, admittedly, out of 300, myself, and so I'm head of business development. My brother's head of marketing, and he's also a true Hexican, and we're basically the only two. So selfishly, I'm looking for Pulse projects or anything around Hex. And also keep in mind too that when it comes to building on PulseChain, right, it's EVM compatible, meaning it's still Solidity. So a lot of I don't know if your community cares, but in the end, you're able to build. So whether it's Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, PulseChain, we're using the same language to be able to build it. So it makes it easier to at least build contracts around it and get it up on testnet. But no, we are building. So a lot of people, we actually have, I think we've built 10 projects so far, roughly, that are for PulseChain specifically, but they're just idle right now. So people are building. I think from a company standpoint, obviously everything that I say has nothing to do with Rapid Innovation. I do think though that Rapid Innovation will build anything. But I can't say that they're huge fans of. They're indifferent, put it that way, to it.
I can give you a bit of context, Bluey. So I've seen both sides of it. I've seen hardcore ETH guys that won't look at it because of Richard and everything. But then I've seen other teams that we're speaking to that they're multi-chain teams. So for them, it's all about just building out their product and hooking into as many ecosystems as they can. So I've seen the good and the bad. Some people will hold on to a grudge, and I think you'll find there'll be hardcore Ethereum guys that probably you'll never get them across here. But then there's other teams that are a lot more flexible and open-minded.
Yeah, and I will say from the EOS days, so the tech is cool and all that. I think what it's going to boil down to is are people actually building, and is the ecosystem growing? I think a lot of times we get caught up on for example, Richard Hart's last stream. It's awesome that he's improving the technical side of it, but in the end, for the longevity of the project, there needs to be people building. Otherwise, it becomes a ghost chain.
It's adoption, isn't it? If you don't have people adopting it and using the tools that are on there, they don't go anywhere. We've seen there's probably hundreds of chains out there that are arguably faster, cheaper, better tech in their eyes than an Ethereum and Solana and all of those. But if they've got no one using them, they're just not going to go anywhere. And I think that's the big difference with this community is you've got a lot of willing participants that want to come across and use the chain. I think testnets, there's guys that are brand new to crypto, like been in crypto for months, that are playing around on testnet. When have you ever seen that before, mate? Most people don't even know what a testnet is.
Yeah. And I really do believe that what's different this time around is Richard Hart is a genius marketer, and EOS, they had the marketing and so forth, but I mean, this is a new caliber of marketing. So when you have the tech plus a savage of a marketer, it will be fun to see where things go in the coming years with PulseChain.
Yeah, I think I was really keen on EOS, to be honest. I thought that was going to do something pretty special. It was pretty disappointing the way that turned out. And I think they fragmented their own product, which was bizarre. Didn't even back their own product. They built on a sister chain, so it was quite weird what they were doing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that contributed to its not failure, but I guess it is a ghost chain now.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll head that way.
Hey guys, I think we need to just go on a bit of a tangent into what's been going on in the crypto space. Jexa, do you have a chart that we can look at where we can see the blood in the streets and then drill into just? I mean, the big. I just want to see Bitcoin chart today.
Yeah, right.
That is horrendous. It's horrific.
Or maybe that's why Tangent's not here. It's curled up in bed.
Hey, you know what? But Bitcoin is still like only down 70%.
Bargain. Or like yeah.
So it's less. It's I guess less volatile. But is that how? I mean, how far does it need to go down? Even if it went down to 11K, it's still only 85%. You know.
So there you go. There's one up there.
1 second.
I'll give you a bit of hopium and then a bit of reality. So if we go to the weekly and we're looking at a 200-week moving average. So this is typically the 200-week moving average has sort of signified the bottom in the past. And that's what we hit today. I'm testing that at the moment.
Ooh.
Yep.
When was the last time it dropped through there? Looks like the COVID dip.
Yeah, that's right. That was the COVID dip. Yep. So that was a hit down there. That was obviously a bit of an anomaly. That one, it wasn't a typical market move. But even still, that was brought straight back up to that.
We're way through it now. Like it's way worse.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So if you're doing Fibonacci's, then that sort of puts us this. If we repeat the drawdowns we have previously, that would put us in this zone here. So
which is
so what do we say? Sort of top of, so it's about 17 all the way down to 12 or 11. And there's a lot of there's key supports along there that would be a bit of a barrier, you would think. So yeah, if we were any other market, you would go, yeah, maybe that's a bit of a bottom. I ain't going to call it yet. Who knows what's going to happen? But just been a lot of pain. Does it feel like there's been enough pain is the question. We've had a lot of shitty things happen. We've had Luna implode. Looks like we're on the verge of seeing Celsius shit the bed. So they're big events.
They actually so this is, I don't understand how Celsius works that well, but they had, Celsius had an amount of WBTC that was collateral for a loan. Is that right? In Maker.
Yeah, that's right. So they'd borrowed DAI against it. Yeah.
And ST ETH as well.
Yeah, it appears that the liquid staked ETH is the thing that's going to be their undoing.
But they also added in about another, was it 500 WBTC? They added that in to the collateral side of things. So now they've got a bit of buffer down to about 17K for the BTC before.
Yeah, it was an interesting move. So you've got a collateral and a debt position in their vault or whatever they call it on Maker, and I think the minimum collateral you've got to have there is 150%. So Liquid Loans is a bit different. We do 110. So there you need a bigger buffer on your collateral in Maker, just because it's a little bit more inefficient with the way it handles liquidations and such. They could have chosen to get the funds and pay down the debt, so it would give them even more buffer, but they chose to increase the collateral side. So they must be thinking Bitcoin's going to come back for them or something. But if it drops further, it's going to put a lot of pressure on them. It'll put that vault back in a risky position again.
I mean, there are plenty of BTC whales out there. I mean, could whales play games?
Oh, you could. I don't see what the net benefit is, though. It's unless you're maliciously trying to do something to Celsius themselves. I don't think it's that beneficial.
What's the game, OG43? What's the game?
Well, I mean, let's say you've got some whales invested in BlockFi, and they're wanting to see one of their competitors, which is Celsius is one of BlockFi's competitors.
BlockFi have just sacked a whole ton of people. They're kind of in trouble as well.
Yeah, I think Celsius Celsius made some.
By the way, I've got no idea.
Yeah, so I think Celsius had a couple of unfortunate things. So to be able to pay their yields, they were taking deposited funds and putting it into DeFi protocols. I think Badger DAO was one they were in, and that got smashed. That was an exploit, and a number of tens of millions that got lost there. Then what was there was another one just recently I found out about. Can't remember what it was called now. Similar scenario. The protocol they were messing around with had an exploit.
Well, they would have had Luna as well.
Yeah, I think they had Luna as well. Yep. And they also, the staked ETH thing, they've got a lot of funds that were locked, and now they can't. Obviously, ETH 2.0 has been delayed and delayed and delayed, so they can't unlock those funds until the ETH 2's up and running.
Yeah.
So I think they're all just locked until then. So I think they've got a few immediate issues, let's say. Which
that's staked ETH.
Yeah.
That might be a long time until that comes out, because that's not even the one of the first things on their roadmap for ETH 2.0. Well, that's down the track.
Yeah. So everything that Cell's doing at the moment, there's obviously their token price has been smashed as everyone's withdrawing. They're basically doing a bank run on Celsius. They're stopping people taking their funds out until they can shore up positions and try and make sure everyone's good. But we haven't seen the impact of that hit the markets. If they implode,
we should point out, you're right, we haven't seen the impact yet. I don't think the full impact, but we should point out why, like I see this as an issue. Like I would never tell people to go play with Celsius.
No.
I mean, it's not. It's got admin keys. It's not decentralized.
Yeah. So
you're sending your crypto to a centralized third party, and then they hold your crypto, which is not sort of what, at least the Hex community, we're not really about that, are we?
I've got to admit, I looked at it and I was tempted, and then I went, I can't do it. Like I just couldn't send funds to them. You were the last person that is on the list when things go south.
At some stage, I feel like it might be a slow burn when it comes to Hex, like being adopted. It just might take a long time for people to finally realize that the totally decentralized nature of the Hex contract is the way to go. You don't want to give in your keys to, you don't want to be sending your crypto to a third party so that they can stop you from withdrawing it.
Getting it back.
Yeah. Look, I signed up to a new exchange not too long ago, and like to get my first withdrawal, what a pain in the backside that was. I mean, it reaffirmed why, like in me, why I hate these centralized entities. I hate them so much. I've got no choice but to deal with them. But if there's stuff that can replace that, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm going. I'm always going to be dealing with that new stuff that's replacing that centralized stuff where they can just cut you off. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to deal with those. And I will happily sit through a 95% dip in Hex, knowing full well that I'm in control of my crypto and I'm happy. And I know I'm still earning yield, and it's immutable. It's in the contract. Can't be taken away from me. It's there, regardless of what the price is doing.
I think it's going to take, maybe it takes another cycle for people to see that Hex is not going anywhere.
Yeah. And slow, when I say slow burn, I mean adoption wise.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of us have found that it's easier to onboard no coiners than it is people in the crypto game. Like the people I've onboarded, I would say 90% are no coiners, 90%. So I think the next bull run, whenever that is, 1 to 5 years away, whenever that is.
Well, it's only 18 months to the next halvening. You'd think that's gonna that's what.
But those halvenings are having less and less effect.
It was just a bit delayed. That's all. There was still a pump. It was just a bit after the halvening rather than before it, I thought.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if you're, where are we? 6.25 BTC per block. So the next one's going to be, 3.125, whatever it is, 3.12. Yeah, so it's less and less of an impact on the supply, if you know what I mean, or an effect on inflation.
Yeah. So, that's what you're seeing in the chart. It's slowly leveling out, which is that's not a bad thing. That's just a sign of that asset maturing. I think that's a good thing. Bitcoin cops a lot of hate. I think it's awesome. It's sort of created the path that everyone else can follow afterwards and smashed down a lot of barriers for us.
Jackson, what's funny? We've got a chat, just for we've got a chat where it's basically Jex and me will just it's just us hammering tangent on BTC. We just constantly hammer him, just talking shit on BTC, and he's constantly and I don't even do it out of not liking BTC. I just do it because I know that it pisses him off.
If it's a down day, you pull the clip and just throw the grenade into the chat and
what did I say? I said, do you know what I said that said him? I said, I wrote, yeah, BTC proof of work is really just a circle jerk. And he got a bit upset about that.
That was 3 hours later. We're still hammering that one out.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, where do you see the kind of greater macro sort of outlook at the moment in the world, and where cryptocurrency sits within all of that?
Yeah, I think it will continue to grow. And actually, just real quick, from the last conversation, the one thing that's great about Bitcoin, especially when newbies are coming on board, is it's not until you're in crypto that you realize what kind of gains there are. So when Bitcoin doubles up, that's amazing for some people. Or even if it goes up 30% in a short period of time. But what's great about it is that I kind of view Bitcoin as the on-ramp to get the conversation going about what other coins or tokens are out there, like Hex. But to answer your question, I think that I think it's obviously here to stay. I'm a little concerned about where things are headed in terms of like with inflation. Now I'm obviously thinking about like recently I think the USD is up 8% inflation, but I mean everywhere is pretty intense. But and then that's interest rates are rising and I think it's just going to be a safe haven to be able to store. So we'll see though. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Could go either way. Generally, whatever I think, I try to remind myself to do the opposite because that means other people are thinking the same way. And so we'll see.
You're on the money. So we're moving into the type of economy, like particularly in the US, where high inflation, but they're going to start cranking up interest rates. So you end up with that stagflation environment, which hasn't happened since the 70s. So I was only a little tacker back in those days, so I don't remember anything of what happened then, and what assets were good, what were the ones to be in. And then throw in crypto never existed back then either. How the hell does that behave in that type of environment? So going to be an interesting 12, 18 months, I think.
Yeah. It's going to be. Now, fortunately, if people decide to err on the side of holding cash, at least now we have the opportunity to stay in a stable coin, so long as it's a legit one and it doesn't depeg. But we have options now, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep. Did you want to... Any questions in the chat we need to go through? 43. I seen one from way back at the beginning. I think it was Stephen chucked it in there. He said, "Why so many emergency end stakes?" What do you think we're seeing there?
I can't bring it up because I'm on a crappy little laptop, which a Chromebook, and it's scrolling is not fun. So I might just rely on your memory there for that question.
So I'll paraphrase it, but it was, why do you think we've seen so many emergency end stakes and dumpage?
Panic?
Oh, yeah. Panic hands down.
Yep.
I mean, it's
do you think it's panic? Are you saying it's panic?
Well, I think...
Sorry, you go, Mike. No, you.
I think it's... I think in the end, people are seeing their gains. I'll give you an example. I remember with EOS, there was what was it? It was some project on EOS, and same situation. All crypto was crashing. This token as well was crashing, and it's just like you see the gains losing it. You see all that value going down, the paper value, and then you panic or you become illiquid somewhere else, and now you need that to move that capital over. And what other options, if you're staked natively with Hex, what other options do you have other than to emergency end stake and get out of that position? That's my guess.
So I think you're either a very clever player who is ending a stake and using liquidity pools somehow to better your position, or like Mike said, you're in panic mode, just ending a stake. You're seeing your account value just go bang, bang, bang. You either need the money or you've overinvested money that you shouldn't have, and you just need to save your position. You need to make sure you can eat.
I've got to say that I don't think people, like, unless it's like a life, health, like well-being situation, I don't think people should ever emergency end stake. I don't see like you should be staking, and when you stake, you should be like that's a decision that you need to be firm on. You're basically signing a contract, and it's really a contract with yourself. So you're making a promise to yourself, to your future self. So you're breaking a promise to your future self if you're emergency end staking, and you're doing all of us a favor because you're giving us free stuff. All of us stakers who aren't emergency end staking, you're giving us, your your penalty, you know, a portion of your penalty tokens, but I don't think there's any good reason to do it, unless of course it's a health, you know, well-being related thing that can't be avoided. Tangent.
Yo.
What's going on?
Hey, how are you, mate?
I'm well. How's everyone here?
Good.
Tangent.
We were talking
Going
about
well.
you before, mate.
Who have we got here as a guest?
Hello, sir. How are you?
This is
Mike. How you going, Mike?
this is Mike.
Mike, can you just go over everything you've been talking about for the last hour?
Take a step back. I'll go on a tangent. No pun intended. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You too.
I'll give you a quick rundown, Tangent. Mike is from hexmarket.com, and they basically have an NFT, a financial NFT trading platform, which is specifically for the Hex HSI NFTs.
Is this
So
the one
it's
you were
like
talking about
marketplace
that's
for that.
feeless? Or
There's a 2.22% fee, and it's basically a marketplace where you can sell and buy hex stakes, token.
yo, these graphics look badass. I'm on the site right now. This is a very cool visual representation of a stake.
Can we bring up that? Can someone bring that up, like, so we can show the audience what it looks like?
Well,
I can. Yeah.
why one of you guys are doing
Oh,
that?
wait. Sorry, no, don't share that.
that was your party the other night?
No. I shared I shared my whole screen rather than just the window. There you go.
You're gonna do it. Actually, while we're that's quite interesting. What you brought up, Tangent. Like, Mike, how do you see the competition, and how you're going to compete within this marketplace of marketplaces?
Yeah. So we don't want to deviate from hex stakes. Like, in the end, everything that's going to be on Hex Market is solely for tokenized hex stakes. So that alone is way different than any other NFT marketplace.
Is that the correct marketplace?
Yep, this is it.
Okay.
And really what the goal is, so the initial version, let's just get a marketplace out there, but the goal is to use this as a way to onboard the masses and to get them talking about, so you can look at an HSI and say, hey, is this worth the purchase or not? So over time, we're going to improve the user experience in the UI to help people make an informed decision whether they want to sell or buy an existing HSI.
It's an interesting thought. So just up on the screen there, we've got a range of different prices for these NFTs, and they've got all different days they've been running, when they were created, etc. Do you think you're better off like leaving the sale value to be speculative and people have got to form their own opinion, or having some sort of calculator where you can punch in a few numbers and go, okay, well, this should be roughly worth X, Y, Z?
Yeah, so there is, I agree on, so there's a couple things. First, we want to do some sort of auction. I think an auction feature would make more sense once we have a little more volume and eyeballs actually interested in the HSIs. So that would be one way to allow people to really gain the most value, or at least get a true value of what a hex stake is worth. And then on top of that, with the art feature where we're allowing people to combine an NFT art piece with a hex stake and attaching that, we hope that will provide an additional way to, it's another way to, it's other perceived value, and people will market it or view it differently. So like, for example,
also someone in the
community,
who already makes hex art and hex memes could put one of their memes, and then it's from that person, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to have a ranking. We haven't designed it yet, but there's going to be a page where once you create that or mint that NFT art with that hex stake or hex stakes multiple, then the community can vote to see which is their favorite. So like if there's one individual that has they have an awesome collection and they're ranked #1, well, people actually might perceive that at higher value. And a good analogy would be like, imagine if Richard Hart had an HSI, he created his own art piece, attached that HSI to it. I guarantee that would sell for a lot more than what that
like the diamond, like the black diamond on it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a perfect example. So he bought that black diamond. He said he wants to create an NFT, and you guys know his stance on expensive JPEGs. And so now my goal is to have him say, hey, you know what? Expensive JPEGs aren't bad as long as there's an expensive HSI attached or expensive hex state that is attached to that art piece. That's the goal with this. And I think it's going to be, yeah.
So you can view it like a housing market. So there's a utility component and then there's an emotional component. So you could have two houses on the same street, one slightly decorated a little bit different. People will pay a whole lot more for the one they're emotionally connected to. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I reckon it's
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
This is very cool that you get a lot more information about what's going on than if you were to say list an HSI onto like a normal NFT platform,
like OpenSea or
like OpenSea. It wouldn't have all of this info about the actual stake because it would just be seen as an NFT. It wouldn't be seen. These details wouldn't come through on the listing about how much of it is complete and all of this info.
Yeah, and imagine, to add on to that, and this is in the roadmap, but to add the additional ability to see what the future might hold. So we're valuing this at $500, but based on the T-share rate and the history of payouts, we can and we can even project what the price might be in the future. Then we can show, hey, like this could be worth X amount in the future based on what has been happening with the price and the hex payout or the yield. So there's a lot of cool ways we can have, but the end goal is let's create a beautiful UI that allows people to be more informed as to whether or not they should buy and sell. That's the end goal.
The design is really clean. Love the design.
Yeah.
It's really
clean. I didn't even click on one to see what was behind it, but yeah, that's cool how it's got all the info there.
Yeah, and then eventually there'll be in the header area, you'll be able to actually create the art where you can upload your JPEG or video and then attach this. As this is an example, you could attach this HSI or multiple ones. So let's say you have like a 15-year staking ladder, and you can attach it to an art piece, and and then put a value on it from day one. You can charge a
like
royalty.
A picture of a ladder.
Would
yeah.
Would that be splittable then? Like after, if someone bought a ladder, would they then be able to sell the separate HSIs, or would they be bound together forever?
So they would be bound. You're right. So you could theoretically burn. So you could burn the art piece. So I think where this might appeal is people that have longer term stakes. So like if I have a 15-year stake, and I create a JPEG out of it or an art NFT, then I think that's the appeal, is that like, hey, this is going to be around for the next 15 years. And if not, like if the artist says, hey, you know what, nobody's liking my art, well, then they can just burn it and try something else. So there's a couple ways. We're still kind of thinking through different ideas. So by all means, those that are listening right now, if you guys have any ideas, make sure to comment, because I would love to get additional feedback. This is just the initial idea.
Okay, so I've got to admit, I had a bit of a brain fart when you were talking about fees and stuff before, and you mentioned Bluebum might be able to shed some light on it. Can you just run through that again? Because you're saying there was some Hedron flow address fee, or can we just go through that again?
Yeah, I'll keep it very simple. So Hex Market it's a total of 2.22% fee, but that's broken down into different allocations. So you have 2.22%. 0.5555%, so 5555 goes to a buy and burn of Hedron. And then, so just divided by 4. So everything that I'm about to say is all 0.5555%.
Right.
So you have the buy and burn of Hedron. You have Hedron stakers or Hedron holders can stake their Hedron to earn a yield from the volume.
Okay. Yep.
So that's number 2. And then a bonus wallet, which as of now, we're not quite sure where that would go. It'll either go to Hedron stakers, or we might have our own token. And similar to Hedron staking, you can stake our own token and earn. So that's just going to accumulate in the Sherm, but that will never go to Hex Market or our team directly. And then the 4th is Hex Market fee specifically. So those are the 4. But then we have a Hedron flow address, which is totally different. We're just honoring the creators of Hedron by sales that go through. They'll get 0.15% of the volume that occurs.
Sorry, so that's above and beyond the 2.22.
No. So that's included. So we're marketing as 0.5555%, but technically it's a little less. Like in the end, the total will be 2.22%.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I missed that. So this is actually price positive for Hedron in a couple of ways then.
Oh yeah. You have a buy and burn, and then you also reward Hedron stakers, and then exactly.
Does the user who's listing the HSI stake get to choose how much the price gets listed for, or do you guys choose that?
Yep, it's totally up to the individual what they are.
So the individual can list it. Do you know what I think would be cool is if you could make an account, sort of like an account, and you add your HSI stakes to it so that you get this beautiful interface that you get to see these stats on all your stakes. And then there's just like a button for each one of them where it's like you can just list it. So you've basically got your own, all of your stakes, and it might encourage people to list them if it's as simple as basically just being like list, delist.
Tangent, you're way ahead of the game. That's already on the roadmap. So the idea is we want to create a one-stop shop where
where people can like monitor. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's on the roadmap. I think step 1 is we just got the marketplace out, but the goal is for you to be able to go on there, even if you decide not to do anything with the marketplace specifically. It might be a great way for you to, and when I say you, I mean ideally we're trying to appeal to the masses where it, like my dad could go on there and be able to cleanly see what his cost base is. Yeah.
It would be like the staker app of HSI stakes. It'd be where everyone goes to constantly check their shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's and then from there we build different tools off of it. That way, now we decided just to start with the marketplace, but yeah, the goal is to evolve it into a way to manage your own portfolio and then have different ideas. I mean, this might be a bad idea, but one idea we had is why can't we create a market that allows people to, if you want to put up, if you have a lender that's willing to accept a hex stake as collateral, why can't we create a market that allows people to, you put up your hex stake as collateral and then can borrow against it. Well, I have to think that out a bit, but like there's so many different, this is what I mean by like, we're at the beginning stages of, I mean, there's so many avenues when it comes to tokenized NFTs.
And smart contracts that prevent the user from actually being able to retract it while it's being used as collateral.
Yeah, correct.
But it could still show up on your account and it would just show up as that it's locked. Yeah, these are great ideas. I think these are great ideas.
Yeah. So we're very early stage. We launched last week. We only have a few, tokenized hex stakes up there or HSIs. So we have a while to go, but it's exciting in terms of what's to come.
I think everyone's really focused on the Hedron price and judging what the project's perceived success is based on the price is getting smashed. But what they don't understand is there's so much more utility behind it. Price will sort itself out if you get adoption of all the utility aspects of it and plugging it into things like Hex Market and extending it where you can get loans and things like that. That's the beauty of where it's all going.
Have you also been
Hedron,
looking into
Hedron is only exists because Hex exists. It only exists because Hex exists. So right now, you might have people who have Hex stakes, like, you know, OGs who have big Hex stakes who've got all this Hedron basically for free. But I think as years pass, Hedron's not going anywhere. The price might go down, you know, but it's not going anywhere as far as the contract. It's there. It's there now. It's going to be there for as long as Hex is around. So it could be something that grows on people as time goes on. It might grow on people as time goes on.
And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Alex has come up with a new idea for another token.
I've got to say, Bluey, I saw that briefly. I'm not a big fan of the name. I hope that name is open to being changed.
What's the name?
I don't know anything about this, though.
The name, it's a working title, and I think he's.
Don't say it. Don't even say it, dude.
Is it Big PP Coin? Is it PP Coin?
That would be good. That would be a massive improvement.
That would be an improvement.
It actually, no shit, would be an improvement.
Oh damn!
maybe we can come up with some name. What would be a good name for this token?
Oh,
I don't even know what it's doing. What? Tell me a bit more about it, man. I don't know. I can't name it without knowing what it is.
Yeah, this is the hard bit. It's like trying to explain it.
Before we move on, can I just ask a quick question?
Let's not butcher it. You know,
can I just ask a quick question from Mike? So something that Day 43 and I are both really passionate about is privacy as a human right. Are you guys committed to, say, doing things that would preserve people's privacy? So, for example, not storing IP addresses linked to the ETH addresses or PulseChain addresses that are listing things on the site and items like that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in the end, if it was our choice, there wouldn't even be addresses attached where it's totally, you can't even, because right now you could theoretically go and look to see if somebody has a public address, you can go see if they have other liquid hex or like if somebody's pricing
that's not your fault though. That's the blockchain.
There's nothing
that's the
you can do
blockchain's
there.
Transparency.
But yeah, no, 100%. I mean, by all means, I think that's why like privacy is a human right, and we don't need to necessarily share that if we don't want to. No, 100%.
Cool. This actually does give you a bit of a break in. So if you've got a flow of your chain of where your hex has been, and you can trace that back through all your wallets. Yeah. If you go list an asset on a marketplace, it breaks that chain because someone else buys it. Could be the same person buying it. Could be someone totally unrelated, but it gives you that. So it's not as good as like mixing and all that sort of stuff.
No, because there's always the stake ID. But if it's changing,
if it's going to a new wallet though,
it's going to a different wallet. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So it's hey, it's
yes,
not
I
brilliant,
agree.
but it gives you that separation or that. I guess it's not a separation, but
there's plausible deniability.
Oh, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
but it's also verifiable that it's moved.
It's changed hands. Yeah. That's right. So this new token name, hey?
Yeah. So So I saw the name that I believe it's a proposed name. I'm not sure if it's finalized. I hope it's not finalized.
You got to tell us what it is, man. You got to tell it, or at least in private chat.
Okay.
Like, send it to us in private chat.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you now. I'll tell everyone now. It's Hemdrom. 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 So there'll be Hedron and then Hemdrom.
Is he going for maximum confusion? Like maximum.
No. It's not going to be Hemdrom. It won't be. So
it comes from
Alex. Come on, bro.
It comes from this dude Helgo who came into the chat, and when he heard Hedron, he started calling it Hemdrom.
Okay.
So it's a very niche.
No, that's
so it's a meme on a meme, is it?
yeah, it's funny.
It's a very niche meme. Yeah.
Hey, no, it's seriously
Niche
funny. It's
meme.
funny, but you can't call it that. It needs to be something simple, like Hedron.
Well,
Hedron is good.
we've been throwing up lots of ideas. Probably been giving too many ideas. We've been throwing lots of ideas around, and I've got what I particularly like. Actually,
what does Hedron come from?
Hedron is a good name. Hedron is a good name. It sounds futuristic. It's I like
Hedron. What does Hedron come from? Like what?
There was someone had a
icosahedron. Icosahedron.
Icosahedron.
It's a three-dimensional representation of a two-dimensional shape.
Right. Okay.
Thanks, boy.
Okay. I guess Icosa is not great either.
It's an interesting question, actually, guys, because I've been arguing that they're going to like this token that he's creating. It's going to have a lot of utility, right? That's going to be built in. But he wants to kind of he's called it a meme coin, and I was like, well, you haven't really gone for a meme yet, and what do you think? A good. My suggestion was keep the HDR in and call it headroom, and then have the whole kind of memeability around it of max headroom. And then, but then we're kind of finding out that
there's too much crossover with you. Sort of need something that is identifiably different. It's different. You're not going to get confused. Which one were you talking about? Are you talking about that one or this one?
Yeah, headroom or headroom. The name is too close together. But headroom, and hedron, that you'll be able to differentiate that.
Bro, that sounds similar as fuck to me.
Call it something completely different. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're coming up. They're coming up with. I mean, they've come up with all sorts of stuff.
Okay, chat.
There's a few.
The gauntlet. I'm guys in the chat. What are we coming up with here?
But hang on, if you're gonna make a meme coin, this is my point. If you're gonna make a meme coin and you're gonna go for the most popular meme that's gonna take traction in the greater society, what do you go for? That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to understand a little bit more about the what it actually is to try and leverage off.
It's pretty interesting.
I say
it's pretty interesting what it is, but it's
Red Bull
complex. It's going to be
Red Bull PP, yeah,
and
RBPP.
What's that?
Red Bull PP.
All right. Nice. RBPP.
Or CCPP, Coke Can PP.
Yeah. But what's going to capture them? Because the thing is, right, meme coins, what do meme coins do, right? It's when people are playing the shitcoin casino and they're looking at all these names and all these symbols and they go, doggy coin, I can understand that. I think other people are going to understand that. I'm going to buy that. And that's why these dog coins have kind of gone well or whatever. But if you're just trying to fully just sell it based on image and name, with nothing to do with utility, that's the interesting thing. What do you go for?
Sheepdrom.
I think you stay away from the dogs. I think the dogs have been done to death.
The dogs are done?
Yeah.
So what's this coin going to do? It's something to do with staking, right?
You'll be able to sacrifice either an HSI stake and to get Hemdrom. There'll also be a sack stage. And you'll get an NFT. There's also he's going to give out NFTs. If you stake those NFTs, you're going to be able to collect Hedron as yield interest, and you can also then burn that NFT to collect all of that Hedron. And so it's going to be financial NFTs. So you'll be able to stake an NFT and collect yield. And so you're going to be able to collect. You can be able to stake Hedron to collect, I think, Hemdrom as the yield. Can't remember. And then you're going to be able to stake Hemdrom as well and collect Hedron from that. Can I just say
now, if it's called Hemdrom, I will boycott it out of principle. You cannot call it Hemdrom. You cannot. I know it's a funny, joke in a joke thing, but that is not a good name.
Also, technically, that's not a meme if it has utility. Like
Well,
meme
I think you
coins-
can have both. I think they're two aspects of the same thing. I think basically everything has memeability. Like Hex is a meme to anything is actually a meme, and a meme is just a like this graphic representation of an idea. But you have better memes and you have worse memes, and so I think you can have like Hex is a meme. It's developing into a meme.
I get what you mean that like
meme.
Everything in crypto is a meme, but
and in stocks as well, the whole world.
I think a meme coin. I don't know if this is just my definition of a meme coin, but for me, it has to be that it literally has no utility. It's just for the
definition
lols.
Is that it has no. For me, it's like it's just the aspect of it.
Although
how you're going to sell the thing.
Some of the meme coins have pivoted and have claimed after that they're going to like set up a DEX or they're going to do that, and then people still class them as a meme coin because originally they were a meme coin.
So
I guess
Sheeb's a classic example.
Yeah, I'll admit that was just a definition, my own personal definition in my head. I never saw a formal definition of what a meme coin is.
Well, it's all semantic anyway. It's whatever we want it to be.
But as I hear you talking about it, I kind of think, as much as I like the idea of having projects that are so that it's not just Richard Hart's projects within the ecosystem, I do think that something like this, where it's like yield generating sort of shit, it's probably better to just have it all in one project where it does the shit for everything. So it's like, a bit like how PulseX, you come there and you can deposit and generate yield off all the coins rather than having separate yield generating projects. It just gets so confusing for everyone. Like having a separate token for the project that generates yield for these ones. And then you get what I'm saying, Bluey? Like just one-stop shop for yield generating shit would be just easier pitch. I mean, easier pitch and just easier for people to know where to go and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting what he's doing. Like when we start digging into it, it's going to burn a lot of hedron in the end. That's what I think the effect it's going to have, because people are going to be able to give up their HSIs and then they go up to. It's also going to like feed the auctions a bit more. But there are good reasons why he's doing it.
All right.
And it has to be, and it's the kind of thing that it can only be built on top of hedron. So hedron is built on top of Hex, and you can't. And Hemdrom or whatever it's called is going to be built on top of Hedron, so it won't have any other use apart. And because there's not going to be any oracles or anything like that. Like this is like it's like a new kind of area of DeFi, I think. But it is
Oracle-less DeFi is definitely something I'm keen for.
It's Oracle-less DeFi. Yeah,
that's something I'm keen for.
Yeah.
So the only thing that worries me a little bit as these projects get more and more meta is that if it creates
how much can you stack and how much
if it creates any kind of like leveraging risk that if something starts to fail that it just cascades back through all these other
the price will definitely.
It doesn't sound like this is in that classification, but some of the other stuff I've heard people suggesting where they're like, we're going to do this other token as well, where it does this, like, and you're like, okay, this is getting really meta, and this is it is creating sort of systemic risk for like liquidation cascades that flow back through other projects.
Crypto meme coin inception. Hey, someone just suggested. Someone just suggested bitch tits coin should be what it is.
What was that one?
Someone said it should be called bitch tits coin. I think I like that.
We could have bitch tits coin and it gets handed out each week for first, second, and third place, like 10, 5, and 3 or something like that. I'm joking, but I'm joking. By the way, I'm joking. No, dude. I think you're onto something. Seriously. And that would be the only way to get the coin. The only way to get the coin would be to win the coin.
Bro, no, we can't give out 3 a week. We can only give out 2 a week. Bitch tits coin. We give out 2 every week.
That's a great idea. Our inflation is 2 a week.
Yeah, we've got the emission schedule of 2 per week. 104 bitch tit coins per year.
Our stock to flow ratio would be off the chain, yo.
Bro, this is such a good idea. Ashley just said the yield could be called milking.
You know what you could actually do? You could have so that now that we've got our own channel for Hex Late Show, any donations that are put through Super Chat goes to being the LP. So on the buy side, so that anyone who wins the bitch tit coin can choose to sell into that liquidity, or they can hold it. And then each week, do you get what I'm saying? So it's almost like you're getting a token that represents some or all of the donations that were made that week or collectively over the previous weeks. And you can so your prize is really the tokenized representation of that, but you can choose to hold it and it might go up even higher.
Do you know how to make, can I ask, who knows? Doesn't it need to have admin keys though, essentially? Because if
someone would be needing to run the pool. Yes.
Because if we need to send it to someone, it
would be centralized as F, man. It would be centralized as F.
I'm not down with my own idea.
It would be more centralized than Celsius. You don't trust yourself? No, I'm just kidding.
No. I would do it, and I'm happy for it to be centralized, but I don't want it to have a value. I want it to have like, just collectability.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't want it to be worth money.
Then you could do it as an NFT instead of a token.
True. This is true.
And it could have the NFT could be the picture, the thumbnail of that week's. No. The thumbnail of that week's show with like a little trophy photoshopped onto it or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it could be so that each NFT. It would just be for the lols, though. Obviously,
I don't think you have to worry. I don't think you have to worry about the price of it. If you go back over all our super chats for the last 2 years, it might have a market cap of about $3.
What's the average?
Aussie. And do you know what the thing is? That we don't actually get that. Like that goes to Discourse Syndicate. Your super chats don't actually come to us. We don't.
That's why I was saying on the new channel though.
They go into a custodial wallet.
Did you guys mention yet that we're dual streaming on that new channel? I shilled it on my channel, and I think we instantaneously got an extra 10 subs.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
So go search the Hex Late Show on YouTube and go find our channel because we're streaming on that channel as well. It's sort of just like a backup, you know.
When Discourse Syndicate gets taken down.
I would pitch it heavier than that in that it also gives us the capacity of launching some new shows.
Which we're going to do.
That doesn't impact the scheduling of what goes on DS.
Yeah.
So
we're actually going to do that.
There will be original content. It won't just be a pure dual streaming of this particular show. There'll be some original content on there as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Tangent and I we are going to do a stream, like our first stream that's only on that channel we're going to do, but we have to I have to get off my ass and organize that.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll do it. No expectations.
Exactly.
Please. Yeah. Tangent, I was telling everyone earlier that how we've been in the chat, in our chat, we've been I've been sort of just trying to, trying to annoy you with Bitcoin comments that are going to piss you off, like proof of work is a
you've been succeeding. You've been sucking.
Yeah. I don't actually think proof of work is a circle.
Did you hear that? Did you hear the annoyance in my tone when I replied once with the voice message where I'm like, no, guys, no, that's not how it works.
No, that comment that you said, like the voice one, it started off with, I don't think you understand. Was
I doing a Wales only? Was I doing a Wales only? Oh, shit. You don't understand.
Hang on. the whales only moment at the very end was, look, I don't have time to explain this to you guys anymore. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, I sent another. No. I think I'm more meant that for your benefit. I was going to stop messaging about it. It wasn't me saying that I didn't have the patience anymore. I didn't want to flood you guys with messages and be like this. I was like, okay, I'm kind of starting to get a bit repetitive here. I'm just going to leave it. And I think, look, with a lot of these things in crypto, and this applies broadly, time will tell. So unfortunately, a lot of these these theoretical arguments or discussions, they really require time for someone to be proven correct, or some of these things to be consolidated, some of these ideas to be consolidated.
Yeah, absolutely.
We knew where you were coming from, mate. Guys, everyone needs to get onto our new coin really quick. We've just doubled the market cap.
Ooh.
You've just made 100%.
Guys,
if you got in when we told you, you would already be up 100%. That's it.
Not financial advice.
Do you know what I find interesting is on CoffeeZilla's channel, he makes this joke where he says pump the stock, buy Zilla, right? And I don't think he realizes there is an old cryptocurrency from the 2017 ICO era that was actually called Zilla and had the ticker Zilla. I think it was meant to be like a phone app where it was an ICO with an app that lets you buy other ICOs. So it was like real meta, and it tanked. But so it concerns me that people might think that he's actually promoting that coin and people might go out and buy it, whereas he's actually trying to take the piss and imply that there is no coin. He's saying pump the stock, i.e. subscribe to the channel, hit like. And by the way, speaking of, subscribe to this channel and hit like.
Let's go with that.
Where's Unwrecked?
By the way, the price is going up. Hex price is going up. That makes me happy.
Can we look at a chart? Can we see that?
I've just shut mine down. I don't have tangents going on hand. What's actually been interesting is in the midst of all the shit that went down today, ETH busting down to all-time, busting levels that we haven't seen for a long time. Bitcoin getting absolutely smashed, and Hex stayed around the 3 cent mark, which was good to see. So
yes,
we might be finally seeing a little bit of a show.
Oh, yeah,
of
look at that.
So I agree, Jexa. That gave me a lot of confidence. That's a sign of strength, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what was interesting was Richard Hart's throwaway comment that he made. He said, every time people keep selling and I keep getting yelled at, yet you guys keep hitting the sell button. And it's so true. Like, the only people doing it are bloody, like, it's the Hex community. We're the only ones that push the bloody sell button.
Yeah, it's not him. It's not him. No. Although he gets a lot of crap for it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
He gets a lot of with the outrage marketing and all the the clothes and jewelry and all that stuff that he's showing off. People assume that he's selling, like he's just dumping Hex to do that. Yeah. And from the audits that have been done on the if the audits that have been done and all that sort of stuff on the OA and all these wallets, there's no Hex has been sold ever since the start. So
on my channel yesterday, I talked about how we could end up ranging inside of this zone that I had a second ago on the chart. Let's just go back to the 4 hour. So this black line that I drew, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of range within this support zone and then either break up or down out of it, where sort of from a TA perspective, breaking down is more likely because obviously we're in a downtrend. But from a fundamental perspective, breaking up is more likely because of Hex's underlying characteristics with staking and just, you know, the size of the PPs and the size of the balls within the community. So we've kind of got these. I know this is classic TA is saying it's either going to go up or down or sideways, right? Like that's the meme when it comes to TA, is that it's all three. But this is actually legit, and it has stayed within that zone that I pulled up on that stream, where it's actually hit the boundaries of this zone already a few times. Twice really. So, and then on a smaller time frame, we might be seeing a little ascending triangle here. So yeah, I think this is locally some good news. I mean, I was shocked to see Hex come down to prices this low anyway, and it would just freak me out to see it going even lower. Did anyone guess? Have you guys done bitch tits yet? Did anyone guess?
No, we haven't done it yet.
Because I would be surprised if anyone guessed prices this low.
I'd be very surprised as well. But hey, we'll see if our regulars manage to pull another one out of the hat.
If anyone did, we're going to blame them for the price. We're going to blame them and say that they were the one that must have been selling.
Just to get it down there. If we were giving out our coins, I could imagine they would want to do it, but at the moment, maybe not.
Another thing that I said. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say another thing that I said on my stream, and this comes back to Mike's website with the Hex Market, is that something that keeps me bullish on Hex is the amount of things, both in the digital and physical realm, that have been built by Hexicans, wrapped cars, websites, Staker app, just the effort that people have put in creating memes, having a Twitter presence, YouTube channels. There is just so much that Hex community have invested time, effort, money into this ecosystem, the Richard Hart ecosystem. It's something that's just in the back of my mind being like, A, it can't fail, and B, it surely has to count for something when it comes to supporting price during the bear market. Like the dedication that has been demonstrated and can be pointed to by the community. Do you guys feel me?
Yeah, I'll take it one step further because I was thinking about this the other day. So you've talking about, okay, they've invested emotionally, they've gone and got cars and things like that. What people don't realize is how much real world value Hex is also creating. So we've seen people make shields and sell shields. There's the guys over in, I think it's Borneo or somewhere, that do all the artwork. I've got artwork on my wall that I've purchased. So there's there's real world value being created off the back of this digital asset as well. That is, it's tangible goods and services that are being created in the real world that would not have existed without this being around. And I've got things that I sell on my security site that they've gone out all around the world and stuff like that. So there's, it's more than, sorry.
You just reminded me that I ordered, do you remember there was the Hex Spaceman? And it was like in a spacesuit. He's got a boom box with the Hex logos, and there's like cassette tapes floating through the air, and it was like printed on metal. I ordered one of those, and it still hasn't arrived. Should I be concerned?
Depends how long ago it was.
Like that was a really long time ago.
Probably should be a little concerned.
All right, I might try and find out what was. And they weren't cheap as well. I can't remember how much it was, but I think it might have been somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, maybe, or it might have even been more than that. I can't remember because it's printed on metal. Yeah, it's like a metal print thing, and limited edition with the number of each print on the thing. I need it because on my wall downstairs I've got a Bitcoin one and I need that shit balanced out, yo. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I need.
Yep.
Otherwise, people are going to think I'm a maxi when they come around my house.
So,
guys, look, I just want to point out that I have a feeling that Wake Up Hex starts in 11 minutes. So we just need to quickly burn through a couple of things. The first thing being Hexagon of the Week.
give me a...
Lots of plum trees, a sheep, a tuak, a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back.
There's a knife.
All I had was me undies on.
Hexagon of the Week. Okay, so this guy's been Hexagon of the Week before, but what can I say? He's done it again. And unfortunately, my shitty Chromebook here is being a dog. Is being an absolute dog. Come on. Work your dog. There we go. Excuse me. Let's get this up on the screen. Can you guys see that?
Yes, can see it.
Okay.
Is that someone's real number plates?
Yeah. Real number plate.
They got all three of them.
Yeah, they've got all three of them. It's
badass.
I think it's Dawsey 78. And this is the other one that we're not that one. this one here. That's the one he needs to get.
Hold up. In Queensland, can you write custom text under the shit? Like, is that Steak and Chill thing? Did he add that, or did the government add that? Did you see underneath it? It said Steak and Chill.
Yeah. Hang on, let me see.
Do you think that's actually? Do you think he fucked with that after he got the plates, or you can actually order them like that?
Good question.
In WA, you can't do that. Like you don't get on personalized plates in WA. It just says WA and the numbers. Like, you can't get custom text. Like, obviously, the plate itself is obviously custom, but you can't just have like other shit written underneath.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I think it's legit, man. I think it's a part of it. If it comes up. Yeah, Steak and Chill. It looks like there's space there. Like, it looks like there's space there, hey?
I like the hexagon sort of mesh behind the hexagon one as well.
That one doesn't look real.
Vehicle?
But yeah, so Dawsey 78 Hexagon Legend of the Week for having those number plates. The clock is ticking, so we better jump into Bitch Tits of the Week. Jexa, you ready?
We're ready.
We're ready.
It's going to be a big contest this week.
It is. Hang on.
Yeah.
What do we got, Jexa?
We had a grand total of 3 votes. One of them, which was put in tonight, and still got it wrong.
What?
You're gonna bring
How? The price hasn't moved for the last much by hours. What?
I think it was a typo. But anyway, so this, if I've got this right, this was done tonight at a few moments ago, and came in at 22 cents. So Dingo Wolf, I don't know what you were doing there, buddy. We nearly had Par Excellence as another winner, but Jerry's pipped him at the post just on percentage there. So we're going to have to give it to Jerry this week. Pretty poor turnout, guys.
Are bearish.
Yeah. So woeful turnout. I think we need to get the numbers up tonight. I think I wasn't here last week, so we didn't get the link out, I don't think.
We just need the price.
Well done, Jerry. You get a couple of coins coming.
Congratulations, Jerry. You're Bitch Tits of the Week. If we had an NFT or a token, I'd send it to you, mate.
So I don't know if you've seen in chat, but that someone came up with Bitcoin.
Bitcoin
as the name.
It's going to be Bitch
I like
Tits
that.
Coin.
Oh, yeah, I like Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin.
I'm sure Bitcoin already
impact.
exists.
That's got impact.
You don't think Bitcoin?
No doubt. It almost certainly exists. It almost certainly exists.
Yeah.
So someone is already like.
There's definitely Titcoin. Titcoin definitely exists. Yeah, like basically anything that you can think of has probably been made into a coin, at some point. Oh, price is pumping,
bro. Do you know what the bitch tits coin would be? BTC.
Oh, that's great.
Bro. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh man. Hey guys, if you want to go vote on next week's bitch tits of the week, I'm gonna write it here. It's www.titbit.ch. That's titbit.ch.
Day 43. You know how these freaking like people with these forked bitcoins, for a period, people had to say which Bitcoin they were talking about, like Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin whatever. Like, so people, like some people, I never did it. I always just said Bitcoin, but some people were like, oh, Bitcoin Core, meaning the real Bitcoin. Imagine if we did that, where from then on, you have to specify whenever you say BTC on this channel,
Bitcoin
you have to specify whether it's our NFT shitcoin or Bitcoin.
Bro, imagine the adoption. Hey, we got 5 minutes. All right, so we've got. Let's do a last round for everyone to say their piece. Bluey.
I just want to thank Mike for coming on. Really appreciate it, Mike.
Yep.
And
Thanks,
also
Mike.
everything that you're building for Hex and Hedron as well. It's like amazing. I can't wait till we hook up art with these HSIs. I think that's going to onboard tons of people. I think it's going to take off. I can see collections of artwork which is actually backed by a financial asset. I think it's going to be huge. Thanks everyone in the chat, and hope you're not stressing too much about the price. Whoops. Hang in there. Collect interest. That's what Hex is for. And
DCA. Jexa.
Just a PSA first of all. Par Excellence has brought up a good point. Jerry isn't in the chat, so he may take the winner's title again. Other than that, you heard the big fella. Stop pushing the sell button. Do us all a favor.
Tangent.
To me.
Yeah, agree with Bluey that, they say bear markets is the time to build. It's not just a cope meme. And so it's good to see Mike and others that are, buckling down and actually doing shit rather than just doing what I'm doing, which is complaining about the price and nothing else. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, as in that's you're less distracted when prices are down, I think, if you're building stuff. So yeah. And I think Richard said he was just like, just get ready for the Pulse launch, and what was the other? Get ready and shut the fuck up, or get ready and stop selling, or whatever it was. He had 2 pieces of advice. It was get ready for the Pulse launch and something else. But yeah, I think we're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it. That's my final message.
Mike, thanks for coming on, mate. We really appreciate it. Do you have anything you want to shill everything right now?
No, I just want to thank you guys for having me, and Blue Moon, thanks for setting this up, and especially thanks to the community. I'm going through the comments while you guys were chatting, and I love how active the community is, and really, like, at the end of the day, developers will develop, content producers will produce content, but like none of this works without a community. So it's, I would say just stake it till you make it. Stake and chill, as that license plate said. And guys, pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Mike.
Come on, mate. Yeah, good to have you on here.
And a massive thank you to everyone in the chat. You guys are the reason that we stream. So thanks for showing up and thanks for your comments. And yeah, stick around because I believe that Wake Up Hex will be on any minute. So yeah, have a good week. Make sure you vote on www.titbit.ch for Bitch Tits of the Week next week. And yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. Peace.
Cheers.